Welcome back to Goshen Prepping. I'm glad you're here. Prepping and preparedness, we need to prepare for things that are happening this year. Even as we changed from 2023 to 2024, I was like, oh boy, 2024 is going to be that year, because we went through this, basically 4 years ago. Because it wasn't simply just about, the power grid going down, which we worry about, or EMPs, or how many different things could we prepare for? Lots of them, right? But when we talk about violence from people, that's one of the things we truly need to focus on a lot, because we see nothing but historically repeating over and over again, violent actions take place. We saw the same thing 4 years ago, just before the election. And here we are in 2024. All of us saw this coming, right? It has not taken us by surprise. 2024 election is going to be an election year. Get ready for it. And now it's starting. And of course, we've seen a lot of stuff on the world stage. We very well may be in World War III already, starting off with Russia and Ukraine, and now in the Middle East, and probably soon to be with China too. Lots of pointers heading in that direction as well. But when we talk about also, besides World War III, we're talking about implosion from within, because honestly, that's what an adversary wants. That's what China wants. That's what Russia wants. That if they want to take over America, they get America to implode first, and that way we can take it over. And sure enough, here we are in election year, and all this stuff is happening all over again. We see the violence and all that stuff taking place with what are called protests. That's exactly what we saw 4 years ago. And again, it's happening all over again. And I want to show you as we continue what it's heading towards. And instead of BLM causing the protest and all the problems this time, now we see pro-Palestinian protests sweeping the United States college campuses, followed by mass arrest at Columbia. And I'm sure you've heard about this. It's all over the news. That's what everybody's talking about. But again, it's mirroring perfectly what we saw just 4 years ago. And speaking of that mirroring, look at this. George Soros is paying student radicals who are fueling this nationwide explosion of Israeli-hating protests. You can see all over the country, and it seems to be a lot of the Ivy League schools, mind you. But nevertheless, college campuses, what's with the college campuses, we'll talk about that in a second, are seeing massive protest. But it's not just about being protest, and it's really not just about being Ivy League. It is about protest being funded by George Soros. It's not just George Soros. This is what a lot of the elites want. They want America to implode and fall in. Now, as he literally pays money, he has a ridiculous amount of money, pays money for these protests, it's causing, think about this, the mind change of people in America. Is it changing the mind of you and me? Probably not. In fact, I would guarantee that 99.9% of the people watching this channel are not falling for it. And in fact, are probably disgusted by these protests that are happening. It's all about youth. Understand that revolt and revolution and change has always been placed on the youth. And that's why we're seeing these things at the colleges. And it's even got so bad that the college and these universities and all these really big, Ivy League schools hire people on staff who want to fuel that change, changing America into, as we head into World War III, something that we don't recognize as our country anymore. How about you? I think a lot of us are probably in the same age group or have the same history growing up as kids. I remember my teachers, I remember my parents always telling us, guys, you really have to watch out for these changes that are taking place. Watch out for it. And I would always say, but this is, the United States is America. This is a place where it's, baseball and apple pie and Chevrolet and, doing all these cool American things and being the lead for innovation. All these things, great, great, great country. But watch out, son, because someday you're going to see some changes. And sure enough, they're right here. And those changes, of course, they follow right in the long line with specifically certain politicians, mainstream media, colleges who indoctrinate the youth, even below colleges, schools continuously trying to change and brainwash our youth. And then the mainstream media tries to corroborate that by only looking at what they want you to show you. But I know you know this. But the point is, everything that's happening is happening all over again and again and again and again. We were warned about this. And we're seeing all over some news agencies, like right here, outside agitators infiltrate anti-Israel protests. This lady is a professional who does this for a living. How George Soros funded progressive legal arsonist? Wait a second. This is from 2021. The DAs are behind the U.S. crime surge. For the last several years, and again, this was a few years ago, billionaire philanthropist George Soros has been quietly financing a revolution in criminal justice reform, doling out tens of millions of dollars to progressive candidates in district attorney races throughout the country to abolish bail and defund the police. Now, this is old news, or is it? Because when we talk about bail, people will do these crimes. The district attorney will say, you know what, I'm not going to press charges. They would actually pay their bail. The people would get out literally in just a matter of a couple hours scot-free, and they actually get paid for doing those dastardly deeds. And now it's starting all over again. Do not get brainwashed in thinking that, oh, they're really trying to stand up for anything. It is all about crashing our system. And it is not speculation, as George Soros nonprofits gave tens of millions of anti-police groups and initiatives in 2021. His tax forms clearly showed that. Not only was his money going toward activists, but also campaigns against police departments. So I want to give you a little idea of what's coming. Right now, we see these protests everywhere. And these are not just people with picket signs. Some of these are violent protests. And the police are doing what they can. A lot of times their hands are tied by the departments and the politics. But the police are doing what they can to try to stop this. And they've been arresting people at Columbia, for example. Well, you know what? Guess what? The police are in the way of this. So just like we saw a few years ago, defund the police movement happened then. Defund the police movement's coming again very soon. This year, probably within the next month, we're going to see some major things happen. And here it's going to come all over again. Why is that? Because it's all about the election. It's all about trying to do radical reform change into something that's not America. All right, so what does that mean for you and me? This is a prepping channel, and I may talk about news or current events. I may talk about specific things, but don't get hung up on that. Get hung up on, we need to be ready and prepare for this because the time is coming. Maybe you live in one of these cities. You're already seeing this right before your eyes. But last time, their last steps, they were saying, next, we're coming out in the country for you people. They plan on doing this across the country. This time, as they gain more and more momentum, the next thing we're going to see is more police problems where they're going to try to take out the police and reduce funding. Then they're going to start coming to places that's not cities. So every time they do this, it's a cycle. They push. Then you know what? That's good. It collapses. They push, goes up this high. Then they collapse. A few years later, they push. And eventually, it's going to be that one straw that broke the camel's back. And we have to be able to take care of ourselves. It's all about you. It's all about your family. It's all about protecting yourselves. That's why we're preppers. Keep stockpiling food, get food, water, all those things. But you need to train in self-defense. You need to be ready because the violence eventually is not going to be just in the cities. It's going to be coming to a home, your home, very soon.